So we know that sleep's important for all children and adults, but we do know that children and adults with genetic syndromes might be more likely to experience specific sleep difficulties, and these might include things like nighttime waking, difficulty getting off to sleep, early morning waking perhaps as well, and all of these things might contribute to a total decreased sleep time, which then might also result in daytime sleepiness and perhaps difficulties in functioning during the day, and that's something that we're interested in looking at more. We do know that sleep difficulties might be caused as a result of abnormal melatonin secretion. So one particular example is people with Smith-Magenis syndrome. Previous research has shown that individuals have an inverted circadian rhythm, so their melatonin levels are peaking during the day, whereas in typically developing individuals, melatonin will be peaking during the nighttime. And so this could explain the increased daytime sleepiness that people with Smith-Magenis syndrome experience, and also their need to go to sleep earlier on, so that desire to have an earlier bedtime than what we might expect for individuals of the same age. So here at the Cerebral Centre for Neurodevelopmental Disorders, we've started a new project which is looking at sleep in children with genetic syndromes, and it's a 6-year-long project, and we're just at the start of that. And one of the first things that we're doing is we're using a questionnaire to assess children's sleep and how children's sleep quality might relate to other behaviours such as challenging behaviour, overactivity and impulsivity in children, and also measures of health as well. So things like children who might experience seizures, are they then linked with sleep quality? So that's really exciting to be able to look at sleep quality in general across all children with genetic syndromes, regardless of whether or not parents of these children consider them to have a sleep difficulty. And our second stage of this study is going to be looking directly at sleep quality in children. So we're going to be using one of these, which is an ActiWatch, and it measures activity levels in children, and from that we're able to assess sleep-wake patterns in children. And this will enable us to develop a really good and accurate picture of children's sleep quality. So looking at those nighttime wakings and total sleep time. And we're also going to be using some measures of daytime behaviour that we're going to be asking parents and teachers to fill in using our mobile phone application. And this will enable us, again, to be looking at those relationships between sleep quality and daytime behaviour and functioning. And in addition to that, we're interested in parent sleep quality and parental well-being. So we're also going to be asking parents to wear an ActiWatch. And we're also going to collect SIVA samples, which will enable us to get a really good measure of stress in parents. And so all of these measures will give us a really good and detailed picture of what's happening for children whilst they're sleeping. So as a result of this 6-year-long sleep project, after having described the nature of the sleep problems that might be experienced by children with genetic syndromes, we can then take this information to tailor interventions, behavioural interventions for children. We know that a number of behavioural strategies already exist, which include things like sleep hygiene, which is ensuring that the children's sleeping environment is comfortable, reducing stimulation, looking at reducing noise and light levels in the children's sleeping environment, and other behavioural interventions, so things like ensuring that children's bedtimes relate to when the children are actually tired, so reducing the amount of time that children are spending in bed without being able to fall asleep, and also reducing interaction at bedtime with parents, and also when children might be waking up. So what we're going to be trying to do is to try and ensure that the intervention that we develop is tailored specifically to children with genetic syndromes, because as yet there's very little evidence base that's looking at behavioural interventions in children with genetic syndromes. So that's where we're hoping at the end of this 6-year-long project that we're going to be.